the streets of a busy town. Not a place to live in, but for some people it's the only option. We all see them, but once they're out of sight, do we really think about the homeless? For many of us, it's a case of out of sight, out of mind. But homelessness is a big issue in Britain. It needs to be tackled. We're here today to raise awareness of the issue and to see how bad the problem is in Cheltenham.
The Housing Centre is here to provide independent advice and information in accordance with the Housing Act of 1996. I think people forget that homelessness is many faceted in a sense. People tend to think of homelessness as what we would term rough sleeping, actually visible homelessness, which is on the street. And people then tend to count those figures up, and it doesn't seem to be a huge sort of amount in the scheme of things. Whereas we would term the hidden homeless as the most, I think, the biggest problem that we encounter sort of nationwide today. And that's people who are sleeping on friends' floors, moving from family to family, not actually in the system, just sorting out, we have young people whose mum and dad have asked them to leave, or the family's broken down, they don't get on with stepdad. They just go from friends to friends to friends, and they can sleep like that for sometimes. I've had young people who slept like that for 2-3 years.
What do you think of the homeless problem?
Well, I don't know where they've come from. I know a lot of them are ex-army people, and the army doesn't take care of them when they come back to Britain.
When you see them there in the street, it's not very attractive, and you just see them living there. You feel really sorry for them, and you feel you have to give them money.
What do you think the solution is to the problem?
I mean, there are shelters, and yeah, the government should invest in that.
I think the government should do more about it. Maybe give them some money or something like that, or build more shelters.
Yeah.
It's quite controversial, I think, in Cheltenham, because people have this wonderful perception of Cheltenham as this very wealthy, affluent town. There are 2 very large estates in Cheltenham, different areas of the town where the poverty rate is incredible. So you have this wonderful facade, I think is a lovely word to use about Cheltenham, of affluence and the wonderful Regency parades. And then you've got high-rise blocks of flats. You've got people existing on £41.50 and just not managing, completely and utterly on the breadline.
Compared to other towns, do you think it's worse?
Not that big a problem here at the minute.
Yeah.
At the minute, most people have been found somewhere, but it's like people are staying in bed and breakfasts.
Yeah. How serious is the problem to other towns?
I wouldn't say it's particularly bad here from my own observation.
It's not that bad compared to other towns. You don't see that many lying around.
I don't really know. We do have sort of some regular people. One man here could actually become the mayor of Cheltenham. He's so well known.
Do you know about the big issue?
Yes, I buy it sometimes.
I've never bought it. I'm not quite sure what it covers.
So what does the big issue involve?
The vendors come to me and buy the magazines. It was set up as a business in 1991 as a way to give homeless people an income, so that in the long term, I suppose, it was preventing them from resorting to crime to get money to live.
Does it benefit you selling the big issue?
Of course, yeah, it's been wonderful. For me personally, it's been amazingly good, yeah.
The magazines cost 70p generally. They sell them for 140, so they make half the money. And the money that we get for it, that goes into providing services for the vendors. In Cheltenham, it isn't as bad as in other places, probably because we don't have the services, as I said, like a night shelter or a day centre for the homeless, so therefore they tend to go to bigger cities.
They've got the open door in Cheltenham, which is free food on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, and on Mondays and Fridays they have the Trinity Church.
Oh, right, okay.
King's Table, so there's always something to eat. Oh, there's all sorts of... I've known people that have had learning disabilities that have been sleeping rough, nowhere to sleep, people that have been satellite in their sleeping bags, sleeping in doorways, people that have died, frozen to death.
Then he is one of the vendors who does work very, very hard, and if they all sort of applied themselves as he does, I think they could all have a better quality life, definitely.
As we've learned, homelessness is a serious problem in Cheltenham. Just because it's not too visible on the street, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Clearly more needs to be done for Johnny and his dog, and for all homeless people in their desperate time of need this Christmas.